Yeah.
Yo.
All right, man. Yeah. We are already back less than 7 days from the last time you heard us, and that's
Man.
great. That lets you know that we do this shit. You know what I'm saying? And this episode is no different. We will not mail it in.
Oh,
You
no.
dig? It is definitely time to continue talking about wrestling like nobody else in the world. So that means it is time for the first Black Champ podcast, and I am still your podcast Intercontinental Champion, Camp from the Port.
And I'm JR Bang. Make sure you rate, like, subscribe, download our podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Make sure you check us out on the Barbershed Digital. Shouts out to Scott and the gang.
Yeah.
Make sure you go ahead and get the merch. You see Camp got the chocolate on.
You know it.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all know what it is. Get the chocolate, get the yellow, get the red. I had the red on yesterday, repping at the family barbecue.
Okay.
So you already know what it was.
Yeah.
There, except I was sober. Like, it's weird being the only Davis person sober at a barbecue.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, I was. It's not for the faint of heart, ladies and gentlemen. I love my family to death, but being the only sober person at the barbecue for us, you get to see everything.
So now, why did you make that decision?
Because I was driving.
Okay.
Like
Fair.
now,
Fair.
like if you, of course,
Yeah.
and we're not condoning it.
No.
But of course, if this was 20 years ago now, it wouldn't even matter, But when you're driving the Plainfield, Shorewood, Joliet, somebody got to be on their square. Just so happens yesterday was my day.
I dig it. So, yeah, because you could. I mean, you might hit a car, but you might hit a big ass possum or a deer out there.
Man, yes.
Doing that off of 355 and just that one road that you can take. I forget what it is right now. It's escaping me, but
yeah. So I chilled yesterday. One of the things that we was talking about on the air before we get started with the nuts and bolts of the pod, was I got ridiculed this weekend because I have never watched an episode of Miami Vice.
Yeah, man, that's pretty major.
I've watched clips. I've watched snippets. I've never watched a full front to back episode of Crockett and Tubbs Miami Vice. Saw the movie.
Okay.
But I never watched front to back an episode of Miami Vice. Now, the show ended in 89. I was 7.
True.
I can't even tell you what channel the reruns came on. If the reruns was prevalent around me, I probably would have watched it because I'm probably the rerun king. Because of Fox 32 and Channel 9 and Channel 66 in Chicago, reruns was very... I didn't even know the episodes of Small Wonder I was watching was reruns.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Episodes.
I could be way off here, but I feel like the USA Network picked up Miami Vice for reruns for a quick stint of time. I feel like they did. Because that Murder, She Wrote and something else. Like way before Psych and Homies, all of that, they used to have Murder, She Wrote. I feel like Miami Vice and another like show that was one of them shows that you probably should have watched 70s, 80s. But yeah, you know what? The surprising part about that for me, and while I'll shoot you some bail, I will not slander you, is because we named an episode of First Black Champ Philip Michael Thomas.
Right.
So I've always been under the assumption, you've seen Miami Vice.
I know who Philip Michael Thomas is. Like, I know absolutely. Miami Vice. He had the single. He was in Sparkle. Like, I know who Philip Michael Thomas is.
Right. So with everything that I know, like I know, you don't have to explain to me. You explain for them. But I was like, oh yeah, he's seen Miami Vice. Yeah, whatever. Man. So the fact that you didn't, I was like, hey, and it's not like it's his best work ever. It's just some shit you probably should have seen.
Yeah, like because it came up because I guess it was like the anniversary, and somebody put all of the guest stars in one like video for like TikTok or whatever.
Nice.
And you'd be surprised, like all of the people who guest starred on the episode of Miami Vice. Like Chris Rock was on the Miami Vice episode.
Oh wow. Damn, I
Right.
had no idea who he was then, obviously.
Right. That's why I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
Hold on. Like, I clearly missed something in the
Yeah.
late 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like what is a TV show that probably is like gotten acclaimed or one of those lists that people will say you should have watched this shit and you probably have not watched the episode of?
Well, you know, for me, it's all new era shit. So it like
Yeah, but you don't watch TV, fam. Now.
Yeah, that's true. But like even just going back to when I even still had cable for a minute, and even though you lent me the DVDs, I've never seen The Wire. I seen an episode and a half. I went to sleep and I just never put it back in the joint to watch. Haven't seen Breaking Bad. Haven't seen Game of Thrones. Haven't seen House of Cards. Haven't seen Yellowstone. Haven't seen fucking like all the shit. Like I haven't seen anything. So when people just be talking, I just let y'all rock because I ain't seen the shit. But you know what? I also haven't seen the movie Avatar either. So.
You know what? I don't care about Avatar, fam. Like you know why I watch Avatar? Because of Blu-ray. Like literally, that's the only reason why.
That was a selling point.
Yeah, that was the selling point. Like
Blu-ray.
The new one's supposed to be coming out in like December. I'm probably gonna watch it for just to say that I watched it for like podcast purposes.
Yeah,
I didn't enjoy Avatar. I didn't like. It's a paralyzed dude that went into an alien's body, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna stay here, and I'm gonna help y'all."
So to me, what is that? The origin story of, and I'm bad with my comic books, so feel free to kill me. Is this the origin story of Professor X? Or
man, I couldn't tell you, but I was watching this shit confused. Like, what is like? Why are we even here, fam? Like, why? What is going on, and why are we fighting them? And it seems like they should be kicking our ass. Yeah. But out of all the shows that you just said, like knowing you, like Breaking Bad is something that I think you'll mess with. Yeah. The Wire is not surprising because it kind of starts off slow. Okay. But it is the best TV show of all time for me.
Okay. But you know what? You are not alone in that.
Yeah. But
and that's a genderless and colorless also. I've heard white women say that. I've heard white males say it. Hispanic people or Latin people, people of Latin descent. Like everybody seems to agree that The Wire is, I think they're still at 51% of, best show of all time is The Wire.
Yeah, like cause you like just beat people up type shit, but you do be on your cerebral shit. Like you be like, oh, okay, like because the shit got to keep you engaged.
Yeah.
So
like if I'm thinking during the show, then it's a great show to me.
Right.
like for instance, one of the last shows I watched front to back, I think, and I had to catch up was House. Like I loved House.
Oh yeah, I fuck with House. So yeah, like Breaking Bad, you will like. The Wire you would eventually like.
Okay.
Because it's more than just like drug. Like I hate people watching shit just because it's like drug dealing and niggas. Like, like now, like especially when you get to season 3.
Okay.
Like season 3 is the greatest season ever to me.
Okay.
With season 4 right behind it.
Wow.
Season 2 is the season that everybody hated until season 5 came about. Because it was like, it tied everything together.
I see now what you're talking right there. See, that's great storytelling.
Right. Like right. Boom, like that. And like like me and Mike B on some dude, we go over like if things have changed our top 10 or our top 5 seasons of like shows of all time. Like I said that I wouldn't be mad if somebody put Euphoria in their top 5 now, even though it's been 2 seasons. Because once you get past the full frontal, you get to see, like, especially if you went to school with white girls, you get to see some of the greatest television of all time. And Zendaya, who just won an Emmy Award for Best Actress in the Leading Role, is the best crackhead on TV to me.
Oh, wow.
Like the crackheaded nature of this, like, somebody was in her family was a crackhead that was close to her, and she said, "I'm gonna draw from that." Oh, wow. But Sons of Anarchy is the only show that ever caught me emotionally. Like I cried when Opie died.
Wow.
Like me and the wife, like, was balling, and I didn't like black people for 2 weeks. But me and the wife was balling, and she never watched another episode of Sons of Anarchy. It was like 2 or 3 more seasons after that.
Wow.
She said, fuck it, I'm not watching it. That was wrong. We took his death personally. But in regards of storytelling,
right.
you would, that's the only reason why you would get emotional, because of his story, and how it leads to his death, and how he died.
Okay.
At that, where it's like one of the homies passing.
Got you.
And so like Breaking Bad is on my list. The Wire is, of course, number 1 on my list. Game of Thrones is on my list. Like, if you followed me on Facebook when I started watching it again, because I stopped watching it.
Okay.
When I started seeing the incestuous.
Oh, wow.
Like,
oh, they're doing that. They're getting down.
Fam, the first episode, a brother and sister fucking.
Oh, wow.
And then one of the little kids see it. And he like, whoa, I'm gonna get out the way. So buddy ass take his thing out his sister. And he was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. It's okay. And then he pushed the little boy out the window, and the boy's paralyzed. Yeah.
Yo, talk about die with the lie.
Right. Yeah, they jumped the shark early. But like after the first season, I was like, I think I'm cool. Like, but like my cousins is having Game of Thrones parties at the crib. G.
Wow.
Like Vincent and Otis and all of the Maywood family, they are legit having Game of Thrones parties at the crib on Sundays. And I was like, okay, the show got to be lit because they ain't doing all of that.
Right, just for no bullshit.
Right. But then you're moving, like you went from St. Louis to DC, and you all in DC, and I had cable the whole time, but I'm just like, it's not on the front of mind. But then when I said forget it, I saw the 2 characters that I hate in TV, and if I ever saw them in person, I probably fight them. That's how much you hate them. Like Jada Pinkett on Low Down Dirty Shame when she saw the soap opera dude.
Oh yeah,
Joffrey and Ramsey Bolton can get these hands. Gee, like I know knowing you,
right?
Watching them 2 the whole time, you're gonna be like, oh no, hell no. Hell no. Oh hell what? Oh no. Hell no. But when they die, you're gonna be like, yeah, that's what they fucking ass get.
Like, like to feel like that.
Yeah,
like that means you're invested in.
Yeah,
you're in a great story.
It makes you invested, and I think also getting older too, because now it's like when you're younger, you going outside, you getting on hoes, you going to the club. You ain't really like let me sit down on this Sunday night and watch The Wire, or anything like that. So also that come with age too. That's why starting off, I was like, I think I'm the rerun king, because when I was younger, I wasn't watching like a lot of these shows like when it came on.
I got you.
But once they hit syndication, it's lit. Shit.
Yeah, and and to your point, I think I did a good combination of both, but I was also like the Prince of Nick at Night. So like I would literally stay up till 10 or 11, and that's how I end up watching My 3 Sons and Donna Reed. And just random shit. Like I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, like I mean, I've also watched the shows a lot of people either don't remember, like now in this era, and I bring it up, like like I'm like, yo, I used to watch Out All Night. Like I had it on VHS.
Oh hell yeah.
And people be like, yo, what's Out All Night? I was like, yo, that's Patti LaBelle and Morris Chestnut. Like that's their show. Like this was right after he was Ricky and Boys in the Hood. Like this is great. You know what I'm saying? I seen those 2 or 3 episodes of Me and the Boys with Steve Harvey before they canceled it.
And I didn't.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't. I saw it on YouTube, like some clips, but I didn't see that.
Yeah. And then Sinbad was actually the first time I ever saw Ray J. Like,
You know
what I'm saying? Like, and so like it was some shows that I had just seen because 7, 8 o'clock, street light kid, because I've been outside all day. And I'm like, yo, bring your ass in the house, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So I was in the house watching TV. Me and the boys, man. Like, it literally wasn't on, but for like that much time. But I seen every episode. So when I seen the Steve Harvey show, I was like, oh yeah, hey, that's the dude with the hammer pants from the other show.
But the even transition into wrestling, that's how I was with wrestling.
Yeah.
Because I still remember when the AWF debuted. And that's how I got the nickname Cowboy Bob Orton for my homies my freshman year. Because it was like Bob Orton versus like Tito Santana or somebody. And I was like, yo, Cowboy Bob Orton wrestling in this organization is new. And they was like, man, get your ass out of here, fam. Now you jumping the shark. You ain't watching no AWF, fam. But like, that's how I got it. Like, even coming home from school and ESPN to have USWA on, or they have Global Wrestling Federation on, when they had it at one point, or like the AWA at one point. That's like how you just were with those old TV shows. Yeah. That's how I was with wrestlers.
Perfect sense. Like, because like on the flip, I haven't seen a lot of those other like AWF and all of that pay-per-views, specialty shows. Like, I just never seen those in real time. It wasn't until like, I would say maybe like 93 to 97 where I started catching up on a lot of that. And I was like, oh, that's on me.
Right. And then I used to get the magazines too. So I'd be reading the magazine and like, yo, who's the dirty white boy? And then he becomes TL Hopper in the WWE. So Marks be at school like, yo, you see TL Hopper? I'm like, oh, that's dirty white boy, fam. Get out of here with that shit. They be looking at me crazy, like, no, it ain't. Like, nah, heck on the magazine. She's dirty white boy. I don't even know why I call him the dirty white boy. Like, I mean, I don't know what redneck means in like 93. But how you were with those right there, even though I was watching some of those shows too. Like, because the joint with like, what's my man name? With Dougie Doug.
Oh yeah. Oh, hey, Where I Live. I was just talking about Where I Live.
Yeah, I like that.
Because Sean Baker, which was the bad cousin on Family Matters, that episode Flex, Dougie Doug. They was all on there. A hoochie is a hoochie, but don't mess with my car. That's my favorite episode.
Yeah. So like, how I was with that is how I was with like when Kevin Hart had his TV show for like 5 minutes. And stuff like that. Like, even like going back to when Fox, remember when Fox really started going hard with the TV shows and they had like True Colors on that joint?
Yeah, I thought you was gonna bring up the one. Go ahead. I know you're gonna say
which one?
The Wilson Lee show. With homie.
Now I gotta look that one up.
it's a dude. Dang, I'm forgetting his name right now. But it was a joint called the Wilson Lee Show. It was about a black comedian.
With Maestro Clark.
Maestro
Clark.
Was
trying to put Maestro Clark for a while, G.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, that's right, Maestro Clark. That's exactly who he is. And it's literally the show about a comedian doing a sketch comedy show, but they hire a white writer to be like the head writer of it. And homegirl from Takia, Crystal Kima, I think her name is, from A Living Color. She on there. And somebody else. But yeah, and honestly, I thought it was a really dope show. Me and my guy Kevin used to sit there and watch it. And we was kind of hot. We was low-key disappointed when it was canceled. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a good show. It was honestly a good show to me. I liked it.
Yeah, they tried to push Maestro Clark for like a couple of years. Yeah. And he was like the host of Soul Train.
Yep.
Yeah, he was.
Hey, after that.
Yeah, right. Like, yo, y'all gonna get Maestro Clark out here, fam. You ain't gonna get nothing else. You gonna get Maestro Clark out this joint.
Shout you know what's manager, wild? Agent.
You know what's wild? Because I had to look it up real quick. Like, it's not even a Wikipedia page for this joint. It's called The Show. And he was Wilson Lee. It was 8 episodes. Ain't no Wikipedia page for it. It's fucked up.
Yeah. Hey, it was on Fox too. That's when Fox like, hey, yo, man, we got The Simpsons, we got Married with Children, anything work. Let's go. 21 Jump Street chopped off. American Undercover. New York Undercover popped off. We going. Let's go. And yeah, hey, The Show.
Wow, I'm gonna try to find that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to find that. But all right, man, we digress. It was a good seat. We can talk about anything other than wrestling, but we about to talk about this wrestling right now, though.
Believe it.
Because man, oh man, the internet wrestling community, boy, they went nuts.
Mm-hmm.
They went nuts, y'all. When the news broke out, Uncle Dave Meltzer was like, "Hey, some big news that might be coming down." And it turns out that their big news was there was a possibility that Logan Paul would be facing Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia for the WWE Universal Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship. And then with a press conference yesterday morning, it was confirmed in Saudi Arabia. Y'all call it Crown Jewel. We call it Saudi-Mania.
Yeah.
So on Saudi-Mania 4, we're going to get Logan Paul in his third wrestling match ever, going up against Roman Reigns for all of the titles.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
yeah, man.
Thoughts, man. What was your reaction?
My initial reaction, unlike most of the wrestling world or the WWE universe specifically, was, wow. So that's how popular Logan Paul is, huh? That was my first thing, because, his programs with The Miz and Ray, how did that get you skyrocketed there? Excuse me, y'all. And my thought is, it can't be that. It's got to be everything else. It's got to be everything else the young man has done leading up to this. And what better way to move tickets and give Roman Reigns a new performer, if you will, that we know the states don't want to see, but it'll work. A few weeks ago, maybe even a couple months now, we had a show about bad booking, and I went on all of y'all that call stuff bad booking. See, in the Compact Center, this would have been bad booking. You know what I mean? MSG, bad booking. United Center, Rupp Arena, wherever it is, like, it's bad booking, right? But Saudi Arabia, Saudi-Mania 4, this is, oh, wow, two of the most popular Americans that probably most of the young people have been Googling, YouTubing, and just seeing over the last 2 or 3 years. And this is like somewhat of a when worlds collide dream match for them, especially since Logan Paul has fought Floyd Mayweather, sort of. You know what I mean? and he's built a career off of being an athlete and fighting and all these other things. So why would he not get an exhibition at the top of the mountain of another sport if he did it at the top of boxing? I looked at it totally analytically, logically, logistically as well. And it is what it is, man. It's Saudi-Mania 4. I was on the original train of, I'm not watching this shit because it don't take place in America. So there's no way I was going to get real upset over this.
So I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
We're going to disagree with you for an amazing reason.
Okay.
And you know why this reason is so amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Because I tell y'all all the time, it's become a shtick on this show. All right. This would hit no matter where the event would be.
Okay.
And you want to know why, ladies and gentlemen?
Why is that?
Do y'all really want to know why?
Tell me.
Because white men, 18 to 34,
there it is,
love or loves to hate on Logan Paul. So you either love him or you love to hate him, and you pay money to see him get beat up on. Just like you pay money to go see his brother, and you either like him or you like to hate him, and you want to see people get beat up. You know who they learned that from, Kemp, from the port?
Who was that?
The man who you just mentioned, Floyd Money Mayweather.
Yes, sir.
This is all from the Floyd Money Mayweather school of making money when it comes to white people. Because this is Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
This is really a filler throwaway pay-per-view. It's an attraction. This is the big event. This is Insurrection. This is Clash at the Castle. These are all of these things. And you really can't get too mad. Why? Because even Ricochet got a title shot against Brock Lesnar at one of these joints.
Right. True.
So it's like, so why don't you put one of the biggest social media stars in the world up against Roman Reigns, who is the biggest wrestler in the world right now? Do you know who that benefits more than anybody, ladies and gentlemen? It don't benefit Logan Paul.
No.
Benefits Roman Reigns. This is the WWE knowing who they have, knowing who to put in front of in the worldview now, and giving Roman the rub. Because from wrestling standpoint and in a media standpoint, Roman Reigns is the biggest wrestler in the world. Dan Orlovsky from ESPN had on one of the Roman Reigns shirts, and on Monday. And then, the WWE retweeted it. Roman Reigns retweeted and all that. Roman Reigns is a star.
Absolutely.
We know that. But
this was the master plan from the jump.
Right. This was a master plan from the jump. It's just when you get somebody like Logan Paul now, it adjusts the plan. Yeah. And when you have somebody that's big as the Paul brothers involved in wrestling, it makes sense. Like, I still have the dream of Logan Paul and Dominic Mysterio being the new version of Eddie Guerrero and Art Barr. But Logan Paul is a superstar. He is a famous person. No matter what you believe may have happened in their personal lives or anything like that, when you go on social media, between the YouTube and the social media views, his podcast and all of that, he is a major star. We've seen what they've done in the world of boxing, both of them. Yeah. Him going up against, Logan going up against Floyd Mayweather, Jake Paul knocking out folks. Yeah. Whether you believe that they should be in the ring with him and want him to face somebody real, all of that stuff.
Right. Still happening.
It's still happening. And the two times that we saw Logan Paul in the ring, we've all said, well, damn, looks better than I thought. Yep. So even with me, it was the dream of, hey, man, maybe Buddy Ass can do a little bit more than just spot dates in this ring. Well, that's not going to be the case. Yeah. It's not going to be the case at all. And you know what? I'm not mad at it at all. And what I'm not mad at also is the WWE putting their biggest star up against one of the biggest stars in the world. I'll ask you this question before we jump into another question involving this. Okay. When have we seen the WWE have one of the biggest stars in the world go up against their biggest star?
Yeah, no, actually, you know what? The planets haven't quite aligned for it to take place, because that, like, essentially at one point that would have been Will Smith versus Steve Austin. You know what I mean?
Mike Tyson versus Steve Austin.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like, and even then, like, that's athlete superstar still, where Logan Paul is still just like socialite athlete superstar. But no, you're right. Yeah, Austin Tyson was the moment, because that, as groundbreaking as it is, as commonplace as it is now, that was really groundbreaking in the 90s, because that was the first time I ever turned on a Sports Center in the morning and seen the WWF at the time being covered. Yep. So yeah, there is literally that.
So this is almost, in a sense, what Vince McMahon has always wanted all along. Like, somebody could say Bad Bunny is the biggest musical star in the world. Like, he didn't go up against the WWE's biggest star. Yeah, he went up against the Miz, and there's no slight on the Miz. But he went up against the Miz
with Damian Priest.
Right, with Damian Priest. Hulk Hogan went up with tagged with Mr. T, who you can say at that time was the biggest TV star in the world.
Yeah.
They was tag teaming. Like Mr. T didn't be like, yo, I'll beat your ass, Hogan. I pity the fool. He didn't do that at all. He tagged with him. They did the vignettes of them working out in that thing on the beach and all that stuff. And then it led to WrestleMania 1. Muhammad Ali versus Antonio Inoki in the 70s.
Yeah, but you know how that went.
Right, you know how that went. And was Antonio Inoki the biggest wrestling star in the world in the 70s? That's debatable to some people. Yeah. But you got one of the biggest stars in the world due to social media and Roman Reigns. This to me shows me what the WWE wants from Roman Reigns. And if you watch that press conference, Roman Reigns took the ball and he ran with it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so now it's the head of the table going up against the table because Logan Paul said that, he may be the head of the table, but I am the table. It's the equivalent of Michael Jordan saying that the ceiling is the roof, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Like, okay. All right.
You're the table. All right.
Yeah.
So,
but this is, like you said, this is what Vince always was trying to get, you know what I'm saying? Because even when they tapped Mayweather, he went against the Big Show. The Big Show has never been the biggest superstar, star power wise in wrestling ever. Stature, yes, but notoriety, fame, publicity, moving the needle for the company, he's never been that guy.
All right, so now that we've gotten that out the way, and we know what this match is going to look like, Logan Paul will not win.
No.
This belt,
relax.
It'll be cool, it's a cool time, it's gonna be a cool match for the Saudi Arabia people and all that. Absolutely. And for the 18 to 34 white males. But what are you looking for when you see Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia?
I'm looking for him to legitimize his performance against the top talent in every aspect of the word. For the people to see. Again, we're not disrespecting The Miz. We're not disrespecting Rey and Dominic Mysterio. But, those guys are good at the work with celebrity, superstar, and all of that. Roman Reigns, though, a person that is meant to dominate and that is meant to carry the company and put the company in a certain place and have people view the WWE as a whole at a certain position, he can't let Logan Paul look really bad.
Yeah.
But he can't make him look like he should get a rematch for the title for real on SmackDown next Friday either. And what I'm expecting here is for one, Roman Reigns to once again show, hey, I'm way greater of a worker than you think I am, people out there that just are not sold on this whole tribal chief thing. And also to show how important, how hard Logan Paul has been working on sports entertainment, being a professional wrestler and really going through the motions and making it happen. Because, he has a brand to protect too. This is kind of what he does. Just like the tribal chief is a character, Logan Paul challenging the biggest star in the world that their sport is a branding thing too. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't clearly beat or completed any of these challenges. He's just met them and has impressed us. So I expect that to be the same thing here, but they both have brands to elevate from this, even if it is in Saudi Arabia. And that's all I'm looking for from this whole setup in general.
Yeah, man. Look, with this situation right here, Logan Paul has already shown us that he's not going to go and mail it in.
Yeah.
So I expect a better than average match from these people. I think that Roman Reigns is going to be a great dance partner to make sure that Logan Paul gets through this match. I don't expect it to be a squash match, so to speak. And what I mean by that is I can expect this match to go about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I can expect a 5 to 10 minute match from these two, just like we've seen with like the Brock Lesnar matches that was happening during that time, where it was like with AJ Styles and with Daniel Bryan and with Ricochet, where they get like one move and then next thing you know, it's oh my goodness, he has a chance. Will he? Won't he? Yada yada yada. You know, only for him to lose and everything. And then Roman Reigns goes out.
Valiant effort.
Yeah, valiant effort. He tried. You know, they're not gonna David Arquette this situation. No. Not gonna be a David Arquette situation where we're sitting up there and we're shocked at the fact that we have a new world champion and that world champion's name is David Arquette. Like, it's not going to be that situation. However, when I look at this and I look at what we're going to get a fun match. And I'm not mad at that this type of pay-per-view. I'm not mad at that at all. And I'm really more shocked that people are complaining about this match in Saudi Arabia. Like, this is not the match to complain about. I'm actually more mad that, I think it was at last year's joint, we got Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at this type of pay-per-view.
Yeah. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Because I forgot to write it down, but you just triggered it with what you just said. Are we living in a time now where wrestling fans are taking wrestling too seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, way too seriously.
Because granted, okay, look, we're grown men. We are grown, very active and socially acceptable and everything. You know what I'm saying? There's not too many strikes here, right? And we understand that wrestling is scripted reality. It is, real positions and real situations, but not necessarily real story overall, like real life. It doesn't translate out. Like Roman Reigns' name is not Roman Reigns. We get that. However, I do think with people getting into this whole debate about pro wrestling versus sports entertainment and who's really the best at the time, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the prestigious TNA. But it's like, it's now to a point where, like, man, skip dream matches. We can't even have just exhibitions where, we assume the outcome and we just want to watch the performance.
Right.
Like, and that's wild coming from an era who's all about the 5-star match. It's like, fam, I thought it didn't matter who won as long as you see enough super kicks, flips, and false pins. Like, now all of a sudden, no, Logan Paul should never be fighting Roman Reigns this early. He should have to face Bad Cat Moss first. Like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? What happened to just wanting to see the performance? And I think that's what this is all about, like a good performance exhibition. I don't care. I don't expect Roman Reigns to lose until I see the energy and the uptick from the WWE universe get behind another individual to make it feel like something. Because even Drew McIntyre's resurrection didn't cut it for me. You know what I'm saying? So I have no problem with him losing. Like, if we're always in the aspect of storytelling and art of the craft of this business, which is sports entertainment, right? Why can't we just get Roman Reigns a one-off? Like, y'all can't have it both ways. You can't be like, man, he never wrestled. He never be on TV, but then get mad when he want to beat Logan Paul ass.
You know what? Let me rewind it a little bit. Even though he was not the biggest star in the world, he was not even the biggest star in Black America. But I didn't see this much complaining when Zeus came out from No Holds Barred and all of a sudden started challenging Hulk Hogan and beating Hulk Hogan's ass.
Bruh did not have one match on Superstars. Like, he just came out and was like, no, I'm about to try to rip your head off Hogan.
Has anybody ever seen a jobber match involving Zeus? Zeus.
Right. Both of them. But.
Yeah, both of them. Like, have any of us like watched Superstars and like Zeus came out and Vince McMahon was like, oh my goodness, is Zeus coming out? Zeus He co-starred with Hogan and No Holds Barred, but he wants to come to the WWE and show Hulk Hogan that he is, legitimate. No, you didn't hear that at all, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, when Tony Roberts from Norfolk, Virginia is out there in the ring waiting for a match.
Right, Iron Mike Shark versus Zeus. You never seen that, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So that's when I know that we're taking things too seriously. We got to chill and everything. But it's also what the internet has become. Yeah. The internet has become a way for you to express your feelings and your thoughts. And because of what we now know behind the scenes of wrestling even more, it kind of messes up the belief that, what this is essentially is sports entertainment.
Right.
And Logan Paul has showed himself to be a dope sports entertainer in 2 matches. All he's doing is going to Saudi Arabia and entertaining the crowd. Now, I will say this, it really takes away from, having the title match at Extreme Rules, so to speak, because I don't believe that we are going to have a world title match there. And I'll get it into, a Cam be knowing moment that really came down. An article came down the other day, which kind of like clinched it and cinched it or whatever. So we'll talk about that. But when we look at Roman Reigns, he's the biggest star. They clearly want to make him one of the biggest stars in entertainment right now.
Yeah.
That's the difference here. He's the biggest star in the WWE right now. But they clearly want to make him the biggest star or one of the biggest stars in entertainment. Mm-hmm. So this is where things is going to be interesting when it comes to that match. And essentially he's going to get that rub. Because again, Roman Reigns is the one who gets the rub here. Yeah. It's not who y'all want to believe gets that rub here. This rub goes to Roman Reigns. Be in front of all of the world's cameras and social media platforms and all of this stuff because white men, 18 to 34, love to hate
Logan
Paul. Now, before we move on, going into Extreme Rules, I think it's only like a handful of matches set. I know Liv Morgan challenged Ronda Rousey to an Extreme Rules match.
Bruh.
So are you like looking how this card may shape up?
Okay.
Would you be disappointed that we do not have a Roman Reigns match at Extreme Rules for the title?
At the moment, yes. But however, I think at the same time, even with the disappointment, I do feel confident in saying, oh, when Roman Reigns show up, he about to show the fuck up.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, if we're gonna sell those needle mover t-shirts, maybe we do mail in Extreme Rules, because Survivor Series, he about to get his shit clean off.
Yeah, we don't really need that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of one of those things. And again, I understand it. I mean, we've talked about it here frequently. There was a day where only the heavy hitters went to the marquee pay-per-views. And then when they started adding the In Your Houses, the guy who really changed the culture of the marquee guy showing up at the other pay-per-views was Shawn Michaels. Yeah. Where Shawn Michaels was trying to prove, no, I can beat anybody ass. So it don't matter to me. Like, Shawn Michaels versus Vader shouldn't have happened at In Your House. It should have happened at WrestleMania. But for whatever reason, they didn't set it up like that. Or Shawn Michaels versus Mankind or any of these other matches. It's just one of those things. Like, Shawn Michaels changed the culture of that, but Shawn Michaels off the Bret Hart shit was trying to prove, no, I'm really the best fuck dude in Canada. Like, it's all about me. And let me show you why. I'll do every pay-per-view. I'll pick the biggest and best opponent possible, and I'm going to beat them. And then we kind of got used to that.
Yeah.
But before that, it was no Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. I'm at the crib unless it's that.
Well, it's going to be interesting enough, and I think it's a good interesting. It's good to see the WWE back in this type of light. I mean, the only thing that I think this fits for both of us in a way, that we want to see all wrestling in this type of light. So, you know, maybe some of these organizations can look and see what the WWE is doing and try to do similar, because you know this is going to be a big look for the WWE and wrestling in general. All right, so to move on from this one and, you know, kind of tag along what I just said, you know, here's a Cam be knowing moment, ladies and gentlemen. as Camp from the Port has said on this show many a times, you know, that Bobby Lashley is the champion of Raw.
Yeah.
He is the champ. There's no debate on that. If you're looking at who's the world champion on Raw is, crowned or uncrowned, you know, being that he has the United States Championship, you know, it is Bobby Lashley. But we've also known, we've also figured that Triple H wants to elevate the mid-card titles. But being that Roman Reigns is a SmackDown competitor, he is on the same show with the Intercontinental Champion, which is Gunther.
Yes.
But there's only one champion on the Raw.
Yeah.
So Camp from the Port has said time and time again that Bobby Lashley is the world championship, and the world champion on the Raw, and according to reports, specifically Triple H wants to elevate the United States Championship to the level of a world championship, since both of the titles are on Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Very easily to just figure out a way to get the belt off of Roman Reigns without him losing. But we want to go the long and the hard route. Yeah. So Seth freaking Rollins has entered the fray because he says that he's been without a world championship or a title in general. So on Raw this Monday, Seth freaking Rollins versus Bobby Lashley. My question to you, and I know the answer, but I gotta ask it anyway. Is this the match that will decide who's the real Raw champion?
Yes. Yes. Because what I've been saying for about 2 quarters now, because we just started the 4th, is that Bobby Lashley or Seth Rollins should at least be the WWE Championship because of the work they put in this year, and because they're the only guys in that mix to either never fight or beat Roman Reigns since his reign as the tribal chief has started. It's really cut and dry. It's real simple. If you've been following wrestling, if you're an avid watcher like Bang and I are, the play has been there. You just kind of get lost in the shuffle with other bigger stories being told, right?
Right.
But no, man, this is it. We were deadlocked. We had no clue about who this benefits last week on the show. And then comes the report. And I was like, oh, so the U.S. Championship now is really decide who run the U.S. And the thing is, to me, ladies and gentlemen that are watching, to me, whoever win or lose this match, I still feel like the WWE Championship and the U.S. Championship is going to end up on both of these gentlemen by 2023, summer 2023, because they're at the top of the heap of Raw. And this is obviously all bearing Cody Rhodes' health and restoration as he gets back, because, you know, the play is kind of in. It sets up really great Cinderella story for him. Win the Royal Rumble, go to WrestleMania, beat whoever got whatever belt. And people would get behind that, even if it is Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. However, these two right here, Bobby Lashley and Seth Rollins, these are uncrowned champs, uncrowned world champs, deserving uncrowned world champs. you'll be hard pressed in any federation as well as wrestling in general to find two guys that have excelled as much as they have pre and post pandemic to not be headlining the show of shows for a major title. And that's why this should happen for both of these guys.
Definitely not going to disagree with anything that you just said. Only thing for me is, and I've been saying it for about 2 quarters as well. And I talked to Bookie D about this also.
Hey, shout out to Boogie.
Shouts out to Bookie D. Is the WWE needs to do a better job at grudge matches.
Yes.
And people without having the title. I don't believe that Bobby Lashley or Seth Rollins should be fighting for the championship. I think that championship should go to, as we said on the show last week, a Johnny Wrestling, Tommaso Ciampa. It should go to an Austin Theory. It should go to a wrestler who the belt is going to elevate them. While I understand what they're trying to do here, it was now looking back, it was something to Jake the Snake Roberts never being on TV talking about, where's my title shot, when he was at his peak, and Jake the Snake Roberts had all of the fire feuds after Hulk Hogan. You know what I'm saying? We all know the Rick Rude feud was crazy. He had feuds with Andre the Giant. He had a feud with Macho Man. He had a feud with the Ultimate Warrior before leaving. Rick Martel. Like, there was never a time that I can remember, starting with WrestleMania 4. Even if you look at matter of fact, WrestleMania 3. Matter of fact, let me rewind that. There's never been a time since WrestleMania 3 that Jake Roberts was not involved in a major feud.
Yeah.
Because WrestleMania 3, he had the feud with Honky Tonk Man, where Honky Tonk Man was, had Jimmy Hart in his corner, and Alice Cooper was in Jake Roberts' corner. Once they put a celebrity with you, they feel like you're gonna be lit. So from 1987 to 1991, Jake Roberts was at the top of the heap. And I can't remember him getting a title shot of any kind. Like, I think he had an Intercontinental Championship match with maybe a Rick Rude. I know he fought $1 Million Man for the $1 Million title.
Right.
And then what else? Like, that's about it that I can remember.
Yeah, because even his stints with Macho Man and Warrior, they weren't necessarily like the focus was never, next the WWF title, or the focus is the WWF title.
Right.
It was never that. And hey, and you know what? Even though probably early in this show, I probably shit on this a lot, but Jake the Snake was also one of the key guys to help get the Undertaker over.
Bingo.
You know what I mean? and look where and it starts at WrestleMania. Like, what? No, he was second. Was Jimmy Snuka first or second for
Jimmy Snuka was first. Then it was Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yes.
Which was his last match in the WWE for quite some time.
Yes, you know what I'm saying. But even the tie-ins of how Macho Man, Jake Roberts, Undertaker, how that all came in. Like, he's still one of the guys really responsible for putting over the Undertaker. Of course, the switch from Ted DiBiase, Brother Love, to Paul Bearer, that helps. But it was Jake Roberts who put him in certain situations to really get him to that level of, oh wow, we should be afraid of dude, but we could also like him too if we just give him a chance. So
they had that dragging the casket.
Yeah. There you go.
With Jake the Snake, like, what the hell going on? So simply put, I think that the WWE is missing that, where you have high quality feuds by high quality main eventers that are not necessarily for the title.
Yeah.
Like, Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho at WrestleManias. Those were not for the title.
Right.
And those were the matches that stole the show. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker parts 1 and 2, Undertaker versus Triple H, not for the title. Yeah. And now I know I'm cheating a little bit when I'm saying WrestleMania, but when you look back at history, there's a lot of those matches where wrestlers wrestled each other, not for the title, high quality feuds. And I think that's what the WWE is missing. And that's why when I see Bobby Lashley versus Seth Rollins, I'm not necessarily excited because they're wrestling for the United States Championship.
Right.
I'm excited because I want to see these two wrestle.
Right. But no, Bang, I gotta stop you real quick because no, you're right. You're not cheating when you say WrestleMania, because look at all the people. When you look back at certain rosters of certain years, look at certain people who just don't make WrestleMania, especially when there wasn't no pre-show.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? So like, but that's a great testament to the grudge match, the story being told. Because you can be a very high-profile superstar. You could be over with the fans, and your ass could not be at WrestleMania. When it was one night, that was bad. But now, with it being 2 nights, now it's worse. Now, if you can't get on WrestleMania in this 2 damn nights, and they both like 2.5, 3 hours, there's something wrong with what you doing out there, my man. And you or my girl, whichever one. And you better get a story and a good grudge match going to make us want to see that shit and be like, yo, I can't believe y'all didn't put redacted wrestler here on WrestleMania.
Yeah, so we're gonna see what happens, but give me a prediction, man. Who you got winning the United States Championship on Monday?
Man, I am gonna roll with our black champ. You know what I mean? I gotta do it. Bobby Lashley, picking him to win it, because why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? And also, the guy that does have to go after Roman Reigns and say, I want the WWE Championship because it should be mine any fucking way, is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is going to deliver that storyline better than Bobby Lashley. And that's what we need. And that's what we need, whether it's closing the year or going into the next year. That's what we need.
I have Seth Rollins defeating Bobby Lashley. This is not, this is first black champ. You know, Seth Rollins is a person of color.
Yeah. Happy Hispanic Heritage Week, I think it was, to him.
Yeah.
You did.
Think the stars are aligned, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Andy, a Bears fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's going to need it. He's going to need it after the night. Hopefully he does not, but, you know, history tells us that he's going to need a win because, you know, we go up against Green Bay on Sunday night. So let's not try to stress ourselves out, Bears fans. But no, I can see this rematch happening at Extreme Rules being the main event as well, with Seth Rollins winning that match as well. If that's where they're going to go, I think that either one of these two are the uncrowned champions. But if I had to pick one of the two, it's time for Seth to get his go. So Bobby had his and getting the belt too.
Yeah.
It's time for Seth to get his go at it. All right, man. First black champ, make sure you get that merch. Like I said, you got Camp with the Chocolate. Make sure you follow us on all platforms, man, wherever you get your favorite podcast. Just follow the Barber's Chair Digital. You'll get all of the podcasts, a la carte. Shouts out to Scott Pierce and the gang. Check out Ruthless Aggression as well. They've been killing it with their look back on pay-per-views. I am JR Bain. You got the podcast Intercontinental Champion, Kent from the Port. Now we move on to which I don't think we should have been shocked when this happened on Tuesday, considering, you know, looking at the bloodline. But we have a new North American champion, Solo Sikoa. He defeated our man Carmelo Hayes for the belt. But the bloodline, they all got to have a belt, G.
Yeah.
Except for Sami Zayn. But everybody that's blood got to have a belt. So
Hey.
that's how that works out.
And I'm fine with this.
Yeah, right. I'm fine with it as well. He wrestled Riddick Moss. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later in one of our closer joints because I have to hear from you because I saw your tweets earlier this morning and I was dying. But more so about the potential of Solo. Like, what do you think his potential is? Where do you see him in the future of the WWE, especially with the long Samoan heritage that they have, that Michael Cole so eloquently pointed out on SmackDown during that match, which was refreshing.
Yeah, man. You know what? With all respect to his NXT run, I think the jury is still out, right? Because we've never seen his Samoan family get this hot with guys this high in his family at the same time. We know The Rock, but The Rock's run was short. Literally, now we're getting to the point where Roman Reigns has been the champion longer than The Rock's entire career. And I'm talking debuting at Survivor Series 96 to the day he wrestled John Cena for the second time and lost. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're going on, if you add up just his title runs, because we over 2 and some change now, and he ain't a one-time champion. He's already lapped them in headlining WrestleManias. I'm saying that to say the next biggest star during The Rock's time was Rikishi. And right now, Solo is on pace to also lap his dad next year. However, where does that put him overall? Because now it's shaping up like the Samoan dynasty. When we look back at it, are we dropping Alpha and Sika out of the top 5? I don't think that's fair. But if we're going to tie the rocket to Solo, and we know the Usos and Roman Reigns are top 3 to top 5, is it really meant for him to be up there? Like up there? I don't know. However, him being the North American champion, one of the subtly cooler belts in wrestling to me. And if he can get that more TV time and to get that title to really look and feel like something special because of his association with the Bloodline, I'm with it. But I'm still gonna say that overall, man, even if he ends up on Rikishi's level, he's still panned out to be very great.
Oh yeah,
in the WWE.
I'm conflicted. Kendrick Lamar's voice. Here's why I'm conflicted. Because eventually the Bloodline is gonna have to go away.
Yeah.
Where does that leave him?
Thank you.
Now, the confliction part is how he started out in the first place. He started out at the top. He cost Drew McIntyre the belt.
Yeah.
He gets the North American Championship a little bit after that, which is an NXT belt that he defends on SmackDown. Riddick Moss, whether we hate the character or not, if there is even a character there, it's over.
Yeah.
And and we see what happened. He beat his ass.
Yeah.
Even the part where you hear him tell Jay to step back.
Yeah.
Like, yo, step back. You basically told his older brother, you slipping. You slipped tonight, fam. I'm going to bring in Sami.
Yeah.
I think what happens with Sami Zayn in him, eventually they're going to have to clash.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to tell me a lot. I'm bullish on him.
Okay.
right now, you know, but I also see potential bigger than that. Whereas when Roman goes, you're going to need a Samoan. It ain't necessarily Jay like a lot of people thought when things came out.
Yeah.
It is not Jimmy. Maybe Solo Sikoa is going to be that person who continues the Samoan legacy.
Yeah.
And I think because of where they put him at on the card, helping him defeat, you know, his cousin defeat Drew McIntyre.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I wouldn't even be surprised, not saying that this will happen anytime soon. But I wouldn't be surprised if his cousin be like, yo, I'm taking you with me if the Usos lose the belt. It wouldn't shock me and surprise me because he's the younger cousin.
Yeah.
He's the younger brother. So he can be easily influenced.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you have all of those things right there. Mm-hmm. It would not shock me and surprise me if we see something like that down the line. Almost in the case of Batista.
Okay.
Whereas Batista had a world championship body.
Yeah.
But we didn't necessarily say world champion, you know, multiple time world champion and Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
We just saw big guy. But being with Evolution, you saw the evolution of Batista, and it was clear that he was going to be a future world champion.
Yeah.
I think that he has that type of potential with where they put him at, where he can be this upcoming generation's Batista, but he can also be this generation's Haku. And that's no diss to Haku.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
No, but I'm glad. Keep going. I'm gonna mute myself. Go ahead.
Because there's not no diss to Haku, because I'm scared of Haku. If there's like one wrestler that I'm ever like, if I ever saw in person and be like, hey sir, how you doing? It is Haku. But the one knock that I have, because I am one of probably the few that believes the way we look at Haku should have been a world champion.
Man.
The way we look at Haku.
Yeah.
He should have been a world champion in WCW.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the case. We talked about on this podcast, check the archives, how it turns out that Haku may have been one of the most dangerous jobbers ever. And I know that might sound disrespectful, but we never seen Haku win a major match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they were barely, like the Faces of Fear was barely a tag team champion. We never seen Haku win like that major, like we never seen him be the Intercontinental Champion. We saw him be the tag team champion with Andre the Giant, but there was with an Andre the Giant who was in failing health.
Yeah.
So he had to take the brunt and get beat up and take the brunt and, you know, get the hot tags and all, not even get a hot tag because Andre the Giant can't even walk in the ring straight.
Yeah, man.
We never seen that from Haku.
Mm-hmm.
That could very well be Solo Sikoa. He could beat up all of the jobbers, but he becomes the jobber to the stars. He becomes the level. He becomes the level in which when you get to him, he's going to give you the match and he's going to be physical and you're going to beat him and the fans are going to love you more because you just beat the big scary heel.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he could be. Yeah. But with the bloodline, with his brothers and Roman, he can very well be Batista too.
Yeah.
So who does he become? Haku / King Haku / Ming? Or does he become Batista? I think we'll know soon enough. But to see him being put in heavy rivalries right now and helping his cousin defeat Drew McIntyre on the big stage and beating Riddick Moss and telling his brother to stay in the back, slipping like. He looked like a major character. Yeah. When he told Jay, stay in the back. I got this. Yeah. You slipped today.
And you know, for all of you professional wrestling diehard people out there, as Bang is saying all this, you know what it is for me now? Why I can't really say what his potential is? Because I got to see where his charisma slider is. You know what I mean? The Rock's charisma slider, obviously very high. At this point, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, to me, his slider is higher than The Rock's.
Man.
Because it comes off more natural.
You see that pay-per-view? Matter of fact, did you see the part of the interview that he did? I can't remember who it was. I think it may have been with Michelle Joy Phelps, where he was like, yeah, he comes from the boxing world. I fought Floyd Mayweather. I was like,
right. He was like, yeah, okay. He was like, yeah, all that's bullshit to me. And I love that. So so to me, his slider is higher, and also, honestly, whose slider I think is equally as high as The Rock's, specifically Jimmy Uso. However, obviously the troubles that he's had in the past, I am so happy to see him getting this run of just no conflict outside the ring, no issues with alcohol or DUIs, anything like that. It's been really great to see Jimmy Uso be exactly who I always thought he was, but it does seem to work greater with Jay leading the team and him kind of falling back. But if you gave me Solo's energy with Jimmy's charisma, I have the moon for him. I have the moon for him. I just don't know what it is, because if he's the direct balance between Jimmy and Jay, then I think being Haku is a great move.
And let me say, it's not nothing wrong with being Haku
at all,
because I don't want Haku to see this, and his sons either. And want to come see us. I love him.
Yeah, man. That is hard. And he got one of the coldest throws I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, he does. I do not want Haku beating my ass for anything.
Absolutely not.
Because Haku would probably still beat my ass right now. Yeah. All right, man. Here's a conversation, and I know Camp is probably not interested in having. We gonna have it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. It's the first black champ.
We gonna have it, man. There's big matches coming up on Wednesday in New York City, Arthur Ashe Stadium, AEW Grand Slam. Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley for the undisputed AEW World Championship. Now, as we all know, CM Punk is injured again, and he was fighting in the locker room.
Man.
So we don't know what's going to happen with him. But both of those are the reasons why we are getting Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley again. But it was when they did wrestle, those couple of matches that they had before they formed the Blackpool Combat Club with some dope matches in AEW. Well, they're going to be facing off again, and this time is for all of the marbles. To me, this is not about who will win. This is more about who should win and become the face of AEW short term. I will, before I ask you this question, I'll give you some context. Shouts out to Boogie D again. Me and Boogie D had talked Friday. And went from some work stuff to wrestling, as it always does.
Of course.
And he was talking about this match in particular, and who should be the face, who should win this, who should be the face going forward. We had Jon Moxley with the spirited promo the couple of days after the pay-per-view, as CM Punk wrestled and fought everybody. But then you also have Bryan Danielson, who's one of the most popular wrestlers in the world. And we was talking about, should one of them two be the face of the company right now, or should they put the ball behind a MJF right now, or Sammy Guevara, or others? Like, who could be the face? Now, I disagree with anybody of those names of the latter. The only reason why is because now we're in a situation where everybody is watching AEW, and I'm not talking about people like us who's watching it on TNT and TBS. I am talking about simply Warner Discovery. I'm talking about HR. I'm talking about the higher ups. Next year, they go into negotiations for a new contract, and it's not a guarantee that Discovery Warner Brothers loves wrestling.
Right.
It's not a guarantee. So right now, I believe that we are at a point where you need your biggest stars out in front And all of those pillars shit got to be put to the side. Because you can't give Sammy Guevara the belt and expect the ratings to explode.
Okay.
You can expect people like us who watches wrestling to be like, hey, but we can't expect those people the casuals are gonna help boost the ratings and get it to where you want to get to be like, yo, Sammy Guevara's the champ. Oh, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, I got you.
So we now are in the situation to me that you have to bring in the big guns in order to help the ratings and help continue the ratings. Because it's been over 1 million plus these last two. Now, part of the reason could be because of the controversy. But then other reasons might be we need to watch what the world is going on.
Yeah.
Simply put, though, we got to maintain that.
Right.
So that's why the question is short term.
Right.
Who should be the face of AEW? Pass it on to you.
All right. With everything said and in context, and even though this episode will now probably feel like I am on the attack of pro wrestling fans, so be it. I'm going to pick HBO's The Hitchhiker, Jon Moxley. I'm going to pick Jon Moxley because
before you go, I just want to say, based off of what we talked about in the beginning of the show, that was awesome.
Thank you, man. Hey, listen, man, and still, your podcast is the Continental Champion, man, from the First Black Champ podcast, man. That's what we do here.
You won with that one. Good job. And I've never watched the episode of that.
Yeah, hey, yo, that is a wild show. Yo, I think you will really fuck with that show.
I gotta find that. That's not even on HBO.
Because you're a big Nightmare on Elm Street guy too.
Yes,
you're going to super fuck with HBO's The Hitchhiker.
All right.
But to move forward in the conversation, I'm picking Jon Moxley because I'm gonna take Bryan Danielson at his word that he don't give a fuck about sports entertainment, and right now, the face of AEW doesn't need that guy. He does not. There is power in being Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, but we see the evidence that comes with being Ric Flair. And what I mean by that is that if you don't want to have a guy who's going to hold your belt, make the appearances, put on for the cameras a little bit in any aspect, doesn't necessarily have to be over the top in character type of shit. Ain't got to be no 90 to 93 shit. No. But a guy that's just going to go out there that the fans want to embrace and he's going to just sell you a moment. I think Jon Moxley is still a really good guy to do that. Even though we obviously don't fuck with the death match shit, like that shit can ride the fuck out. But the fact that he does come out to Wild Thing, which is a white classic, like Wild Thing for white people is like Shook Ones for black people. You know what I mean? Like it's like yo, fucking, I got you stuck off the realness. We be the infamous. You heard of it? Like that's how they get when the fucking Wild Thing comes on, and that happens to be that man's interest.
You're killing this segment with these joints, by the way. You're 2 for 2 right now.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. And also with that, leather jacket, jeans, t-shirt, James Dean vibes all day from Ohio. You know what I mean? So like everything about what Jon Moxley is doing is tying into the fabric of that prestigious demo that Banga lose to every time, which is white men age 18 to 34, because even the guys that couldn't live that life wanted to be that life. And right now, Jon Moxley in AEW standards is that life. So there is nobody better to short term and even medium to long term be the face of the company better than Jon Moxley right now. I know some of y'all thinking Jericho. You're wrong, because Jericho from Canada. I'm telling you, even white people make the distinction. Like, yeah, your parents could have been from Canada, but your parents could also be from Germany. Are you a white U.S. American, though? That's what they care about. and Jon Moxley is footing the bill again. Let Bryan Danielson put on for the traditional wrestling fans. But here's the deal. You don't own a Vern Gagne t-shirt. You don't have one of his matches in your top 5. You love Classy Freddie Blassie, though, and you don't even know why. And that's why Jon Moxley should be the face of AEW moving forward. Because also, my final point, I think he gives the best chance for Sammy Guevara, a Hook, a Ricky Starks, who we're super high on here, a chance to really get in that spotlight and start building the new stars. MJF, can't forget MJF. He gives the company the best chance to build the new stars by working with and working against some of the guys that they want to take the company into the next 10 years, because there's no guarantee that Jon Moxley will be around in 10 years. So he better leave the company in good hands. And it seems like he genuinely wants to do that. So I say rock with him.
Man, we've disagreed more on this podcast than any other podcast that we've done. I'm going to disagree with you, and I'm going to say that Bryan Danielson, it's his turn now.
Okay.
There's a couple of reasons, and I'm thinking more of, I'm not disagreeing with what you said on why.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of everything in the front office now.
Okay.
And the main reason why I'm thinking about everything in the front office, because all of that bullshit that happened between CM Punk, Ace Steel, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and everybody else is involved is now involved.
Yeah.
If somebody would have told me who's the biggest star, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, or Jon Moxley, I would say that Daniel Bryan is the biggest star.
No, in fact, I agree with you there.
So now it's time for the biggest star to have that belt. It's time. And it's also time, Jon Moxley was going to go on vacation. Go ahead and let him get his couple of weeks of vacation. But going back to the star part, see, this is what we've talked about since AEW's exception. This is what we talked about on Clubhouse. Mm-hmm. This is what we talked about on Twitter. The jig is up. And I think the only way that you can either slow it down or bring that jig back to down is Daniel Bryan has to be the champ.
Okay.
Because he's the bigger star.
Okay.
And he's going to elevate the company because he's willing to do all of those things that you said that should be done, because he did that. Also, he's going to give you the better matches with those other people. And because of that reason, especially the star part, you need Bryan Danielson at the top of that card for right now. I actually think Jon Moxley serves better with helping out some of those other wrestlers in the Jake the Snake way. I'm not saying that he should be losing fuse at all.
Right.
But I believe that he is better suited by giving the Will Hobbs and the Ricky Starks and others like that. The W. Morrissey's now that he's over there. Ethan Page is I think they're trying to boost him back up. Yeah. I think he's better served with the mid-card belt. And as you know, I normally hate people of Jon Moxley's ilk with having the mid-card belt.
Yeah.
But somebody is needed in the mid-card to help out the Wardlows and all of those people like that. Like Wardlow is not where everybody thought he was going to be with getting the TNT championship.
Yeah, man.
It's a reason for that.
Yeah.
He's still green when it comes to certain things. Like, unless you're about to Goldberg him and give him a streak, he don't need it.
Right.
And you're not doing that. They also, and so within that face of the company short term, you bring the people at the top. And then you start building those people in the mid card and see who's going to be the person that that comes out of that.
Mm.
And then that person is the person who takes down Bryan Danielson, and then he gets the rub, he gets the boost. I don't think you should give MJF and Bryan Danielson or Jon Moxley the look right now. I think the other part of it is, and I was thinking about this when I was talking to Boogie, what is AEW's WrestleMania?
I'm gonna say All Out, because that seems to be where the most shit happens.
So I'm glad that you said that. So if that's the case, then you have to treat All Out like it is WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And for those who might look at what I'm saying like, yo, you ain't making no sense. Well, let me make sense for you real quick.
Yeah.
WrestleMania is like the season finale.
Yeah.
That's what that is. All roads lead to that.
Mm-hmm.
All roads don't lead to All Out in AEW, because you have all of these Clash of the Champion type joints that you put on your show for free.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to build if you're giving us everything for free. Jon Moxley versus Daniel Bryan should be at a pay-per-view.
Facts. Super facts. That's the real ball drop in all of this.
That should be at a pay-per-view. Like, but you're not building on it. You're fast tracking it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and what's crazy is we might get a double turn. We might get a face heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
We might get something in those joints that we're getting for free. So if you're getting everything for free, what's the luxury in that?
Mm. Yeah.
That's what they have to do better. There's a luxury in having Daniel Bryan as your champion. There's a luxury in Jon Moxley being your mid-card champion and still going to Japan or still going to GCW where he is the champion. I think he is still.
Yeah.
And going to all of these other places and beating these cats there and expanding the brand.
Mm-hmm.
There's a luxury in that. There's a luxury in fighting these joints for free. And I think that AEW has to do a better job at doing that.
Mm.
And that's what's going to build it better.
Okay.
So, and when that happens, you'll start to see changes. But that got to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
because again, who's to say it? 2023 Discovery is not like, I'm straight on that.
This is all segueing into my guaranteed hope for the week. So I just want to get the shit off now.
Let's get it.
Shout out to my guy, David, who was a big AEW booster, who had a whole lot to say about this whole CM Punk versus the EVPs thing. And we have been talking through work. But I gave him this take early. It was like maybe, it might have been before we did our show on Tuesday. My guaranteed hope is this, man. My guaranteed hope is that Tony Khan stops listening to the boys in the back and aligns himself with a real team that wants to see the sports, entertainment, and wrestling business that he has flourish. And that's going to come without people putting themselves over and getting themselves titles. That's going to come with not hiring everybody friends and giving them a shot because they got 1 million views for this bout on YouTube. It's going to come with understanding that just because people have been in the business 10, 20, 30 years even, that they don't know everything about running a wrestling business. And it's okay to know what you don't know, because if everybody could do it, then every state would have a very prominent wrestling federation in every major city, and the world would be a greater place for every single person that wants to be a wrestler, because now there's more wrestlers than federations, as well as more titles than people are probably deserving of, depending on how you're watching wrestling. I think that it is crunch time, and Bang is right. This Discovery thing is really real. You can't just run an independent wrestling program on a network television outlet with your friends.
Man,
it just can't be done. And it's no shame in taking pages from the best playbook on showing you how to do this, no matter what your network is. Then the WWE. I think that there's you can create separation without being anti, and I think somebody really needs to talk to Tony Khan about that. And I don't know if these people already exist in the company. I don't know if they've been trying to call and email and he just ain't been picking up, but they do have till the next All Out to get it together before I feel people are going to decide to leave it alone. So my guarantee hope, because the First Black Champ podcast is not an advocate of AEW failing and not existing. We're not on that shit. So my guarantee hope really is that he puts the right team of people around him for this next 12 months to the next All Out to get this together before people with the backing decide to leave it alone.
I feel you on that. I ain't got nothing else to say on that one. So, I don't have well, you know what? Something to talk about last. Just to mention, because if we don't, it'll be wrong. But last Tuesday, NXT 2.0 celebrated their 1-year anniversary. How did they celebrate it? By ending NXT 2.0.
Yeah, man.
You know, now I don't know if it's white and gold era we're in right now. But the logo is now white and gold, white with gold trim and some black in there. So I would say that this is the white and gold era of NXT, NXT 3.0, but not a 3.0, if you will.
Right.
Where do you see? Oh, let me ask this question. Who has the potential to be the biggest star out of all of the people that you saw in the 2.0 era?
Man, so oddly enough, I mean, and I'm not saying this just because they're just in my face, but Mandy Rose, Toxic Attraction, Carmelo Hayes, you know, that is, I think the biggest stars are the biggest stars. However, though, I do believe that with a lot of the old way of doing things, with Triple H and Shawn now in play, like being restored, I think we're going to get a few surprises, you know, not because we have the same namesake as far as character, but hey, man, I was always really big on Cameron Grimes. I thought things should have went a little different for him, even without the whole $1 million title thing. And there is, I think obviously we can't count Bron Breakker out, but he does need to figure something out. He needs to figure something out. But I think the stars do here exist, but to tap into that magic from, I'm going to say 2012, 13 to 2018, I think it's just a redirection of mindset about, hey, we're still competing with SmackDown. We're still competing with Raw to be seen, even though we're on the network now, because, yeah, people may come to TakeOver, but they still come into the big joints at a bigger number. And I think that aspect of competition being back in place may change some things. We don't talk about it often, even just as a wrestling community, but ever since that network deal got to NXT, and ever since that, they've just been a part of the major marquee premium live event weekends. The new men and women kind of been slacking, like they made it already. You know what I'm saying? They ain't treating it like it's the G League no more. They feel like they're the reserves in the NBA, and it's and we seeing it, and we seeing it. Some of them do take it seriously. I'm not saying it's 100%, but remember when tag team matches kicked off a show or a takeover, and it might have been the best shit you've seen?
Yep. All weekend.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't there. Remember when Dude X and Dude Y or Woman J and Woman K would have that match in the middle of the night, and you like, oh shit, yo, I gotta see what's up with that. Like, there was a time when Io Shirai wasn't competing for a title anywhere, and you could argue that was the performance of the night, and she didn't open or close the show for a minute.
Yeah.
We don't have those moments in NXT no more. Not like that. Not like that. So I'm gonna shoot everybody some bail. I'm gonna shoot everybody some bail. Look, Vince came in, did his thing, but now Shawn and Paul are back in business. What y'all gonna do now? Because what they did was create the whole top 2 tiers of wrestling today.
Yeah, man, I think I would say I would agree with you. Mandy Rose, Toxic Attraction, and Carmelo Hayes would be the MVPs of this version of NXT, to the point where I fully expect Carmelo Hayes before this year is out to become NXT World Champion. I think part of him dropping that belt is for that reason, because I think sooner rather than later we're going to get Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes. But they would be my MVPs as well. Before we get out of here, my man, I just got this tweeted to me.
Okay.
This would fall into the Bang Be Knowing category.
Let's go. Let's get to it.
Shouts out to my man Romello for tweeting this to me. I'm so glad that he did, because I be trying to tell y'all what it is and what it could be and what it should be when it comes to this young lady right here and them goals.
There we go.
We've seen some crossover, like Batista, John Cena becoming heroes, like on the movie screen. Is that something you've given thought to? And if so, like, is there a franchise or anything like that you would want to be a part of?
Yes, I would love to. You know, I'm a WWE superstar right now, and I love doing what I do, and I want to continue to perfect this craft and see how far I can go with, you know, solidify my legacy here in WWE. But of course, I want to get on the screens in Hollywood and maybe play a superhero out there, or maybe get in a movie with The Rock or John Cena one day. That would be a dream come true for me.
Ladies and gentlemen,
there it is.
Let me talk my shit again.
Please.
And I'm going to speak it directly to Will Packer. I'm going to tell you again, fam. Get one of them old Pam Grier joints. Do the same thing like Sam Jackson did for Shaft. Get one of them joints, or go get Cleopatra Jones. Write it, produce it, and go get Bianca Belair to star in it. She already got the big deal with the agency that's going to focus on all of those things, including movies. Bianca Belair clock is now ticking. We only got about 5 more years left, and that might be too much.
Start to bust the Rhymes clock.
I keep telling y'all, we are looking at the future biggest female action star in the world when we're talking about Bianca Belair. Remember all that stuff when Ronda Rousey was supposed to be in movie A, movie here? They were supposed to have been doing a remake of Roadhouse, and she was supposed to be the star of that. That ain't happened. I forgot old girl name that was in MMA too before her. She was supposed to be that. It ain't happened. Will, get the rights to one of those joints and cast Bianca Belair to be your female action lead. And I'm telling you, Bianca Belair will be the biggest female action star in Hollywood. Get it done.
Bang. Simple enough. Simple request there, Mr. Packard. You know what I mean?
That's all I got.
Because you are right. You know what? Even as you watch wrestling now, though, right? When Bianca Belair comes out, It's almost like she doesn't belong there anymore. It's almost like that. And I'm not saying that hoping she leaves, and I'm not saying that as a negative light at all. It's almost like the cameras aren't good enough at capturing her superstar. And I don't think I've ever felt that way about anybody in wrestling before. And that's pretty major. And it's so many, like, again, we always know The Rock. We respect The Rock for being that transcultural star, right? But it seems to be that Bianca Belair is gonna get higher than that. You know, it just seems like that. Like, I don't know if it's the planets aligning and me believing too much into the hype, but there was something about Bianca Belair that just says, wow, the WWE isn't even big enough for her.
Yeah.
Right now. So,
hey, man, look,
I'm totally on your bandwagon on that one. You've been right from the door. You were right in 2018 on the first Black Champ episode when she was in NXT without a title shot in sight. Just to really like engrave your Bang Be knowing on this right here.
Yeah, just remember, I've literally been day one.
Yeah, facts.
I've literally been day one on the she's gonna be the biggest star we've seen in a while train.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't been wrong since.
No.
So Will Packer, stop playing, get one of those joints, and make her one of the biggest action stars in the world. It does not have to be a Marvel joint. It could be something that we identify with.
Mm.
But just start ending what we started. We ain't got a lot of them joints no more. Like, who's the action stars around here, fam? Like, is it my man who played Bane? I can't remember my man's name. Real damn much. Is it Idris Elba? You know, Tom Hardy. That's what it is. Or is it any of these Marvel cats? I don't know. All I know is that Bianca Belair has the potential to be one of the biggest stars in entertainment, and she gonna call her shot. So we'll go ahead and support and get on the bandwagon of Bianca Belair, so I can prove, and she can prove everybody to what I'm saying right now, that she's gonna be at one point the biggest female action star in the world. And shouts out to Frightful. That was Sean Ross Sapp and Frightful on that audio and video right there. All right, man, end us off.
All right, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we're gonna make sure it's not on a turn like this for y'all. We're doing this right. Man, listen, man, we sincerely appreciate every single one of you, whether you tuned in live or you're catching this later. The likes, the comments, shares, tags, and windows, the commentary during the show. All of it, everything encompassing all of that, dog, it makes the show so much greater, and we appreciate it. Obviously, we couldn't do the show without you, but your interaction and your support for what we do here makes it that much greater. And real quick, shout to Brian, who happened to hit me because I haven't been on Facebook in a while, but he tuned into the live because he was like, yo, where you been at? Is everything all good? Yes, things are well. Brian, you've missed a lot, but I am now officially the podcast Intercontinental Champion, man, and I appreciate you tuning in to support us. And just like we say all the time, man, if you ever want to check out wrestling and talk about wrestling in an unconventional way, you do so by checking out the First Black Champ podcast. Champ, bang, we are out.
Happy birthday, Ross.
Hey, happy birthday. Fuck Johnny Wrestling.